Welcome to the Allison Lombatis Show, a podcast to help women discover and rediscover their confidence and style. I'm Allison Lombatis, and I am so grateful you're tuning in. On today's episode, I'm speaking with Dina, a 51-year-old wife and mom who is entering her empty nester years. She loves to shop, but finds herself struggling to style clothes that overwhelm her petite frame. During our conversation, we chat about curating a wardrobe that works for a mix of casual, professional, and fancy occasions, some tips and tricks for petite styling, and the importance of closet staples. And I just know you're going to love Dina's heartwarming style story, so stay tuned for that. If you haven't subscribed to the show yet, please take a moment to do it now. I've got an incredible lineup of episodes for you in the coming weeks, and I don't want you to miss a thing. If you enjoyed listening to the show, I would be so grateful if you'd take a moment to rate it and leave a review. I know it seems like a silly thing, but your rating and review really do help, especially for new shows like this one. We're going to chat with Dina shortly, but first, will you join me and my producer, Lauren, for a little coffee chat? Hey, Lauren, welcome back to the show. How was your weekend?
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. My weekend was good. Let me think about this. I know usually I try and sneak at least one nap in on the weekend, and I know I did not this weekend. I'm trying to think, what did we do? The basics, laundry, tidying the house a little bit. I also had a girlfriend come over, and I have been struggling this is how exciting my life is, folks. I've been struggling to complete the same puzzle for about 2.5 months now, and I hate every moment of it, but I will not quit. And so I asked my friend over, I'm like, hey, you want to come over and be my puzzle buddy, and we can have tea and chat and do a puzzle? So that is what we worked on yesterday. Exciting times over at the Smith residence this weekend. What about you? Was your weekend a little bit more exciting, I hope?
I admire your ability to stick with a puzzle that you hate, because I know I would just swipe it off the table into the box and be done. But you have that. We've done these little assessments before, and I think you have that. You've got that tenacious quality. So that's great. We balance each other out very well in that regard. But no, the weekend was good. I feel like we ate Mexican food the entire weekend, and I'm not mad about that. We had fajitas Friday night. We had leftover fajitas Saturday on salads. We went to a basketball tournament, and we went out to dinner that night and had different Tex-Mex. And then yesterday we met up with friends for tacos, and to top it off, Craig made pozole for the family last night. So we had soup for dinner, and I ain't mad at that at all. I think that was a really solid, good weekend. Oh, and I actually tackled some organizing things around the house. I've been wanting to do this for 6 months now. And I finally was just sitting after I had breakfast Saturday morning, and I thought, I'm going to start really, really small with something that I don't know if anyone's familiar with this term or not. If you've been in the Alpha Formulas community, you probably already know about this, but tolerations, or what we call them. And really yes, Lauren knows all about tolerations, right?
Oh, I was just going to say, this is one of those things that the moment that you introduced this to our community, it was like fireworks went off. And all of a sudden, all of these women were sharing, these are my tolerations. And then all these check marks started coming in left and right. And just so much momentum happened so quickly and so rapidly as soon as this concept was introduced. So tell us a little more. Where did you learn about the concept of tolerations? What are they?
Yeah. So this is something that I probably learned, I want to say, oh my gosh, probably 15, 20 years ago. It's been a long time. And I don't even remember where I came across this concept, but I know I had this printout, because that was back in the age where we printed everything that we read on the internet. Remember that? I remember printing out directions from Google Maps. Yeah. So I actually think I still have this printout somewhere in one of my files, but this concept of tolerations is really, it's those things in our environment that are draining our energy on a daily basis that we don't even think about. It's like the burned out light bulb in your pantry. It's the dead batteries on your remote control. It is the lumpy pillow that you're putting up with every single night. So these are just things that are just anything draining your energy on an ongoing basis. They're frustrating. They're inconvenient. They're not longer term things. They're generally, they take 5 to 10 minutes to complete. One of mine is a dull razor blade, right? All I have to do is either get the new razor blade out of the drawer or order some new razor blades on Amazon, whatever. But again, these little things, they take 5 to 10 minutes to complete. And they're not really about focusing on the negative per se. It's about identifying these little small changes in our environments that we can quickly change our lives, improve our daily lives by just taking care of those things. Now, what doesn't qualify as a toleration? So many women are like, okay, so my husband's a toleration, right? Like, no, that's not it. No, your relationships are not tolerations, your job, your family, etc. Longer term goals. Again, these are just those little things in our daily environments that annoy us on a daily basis, but we just let them pile up around us. And those were some of the things that I tackled this weekend. I thought sometimes I'll just say, I'm going to spend 5 minutes working on something. And for me this weekend, it was, I needed to clean out the medicine cabinet. We had a bunch of stuff in there. Every time I opened it up, it was like falling out into the sink. And I thought, I'm going to organize it just to the things we're using, get rid of the things that are expired or that we're not using anymore that I need to put somewhere else. And I started out with that one small space in the bathroom. And then it just like snowballed into all of these other things where I was cleaning out my makeup drawer and washing my makeup brushes and throwing away old hair products that I don't use anymore. And I felt so much lighter after that. I went to Target, bought groceries, and I was going through the checkout line, and the checkout girl says to me, "Oh, how's your day going?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, I just organized all the stuff in my house." And she said, "Do you just feel that much lighter now?" Like, you're like reading my mind right now. So yeah, it's one of those things, like, keep a list as things come up for you. And I'm not saying scan your environment for negative things at all, but as you're going through the day and you start realizing, okay, that's annoying. This is frustrating, whatever. My car's dirty. The fridge needs cleaned out. Make a list of those things and then just kind of start knocking them out. I recommend no more than 3 to 5 in a week just to kind of keep it manageable and tolerable. But it's just such a good feeling when you take care of them.
Oh, so good. So many of the things you just said, I was like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. Yep, that. We have a fan in our bedroom that has a remote, and we turn this fan on every single night. It's like a noise thing, and even in the winter, it's on. We just point it to the wall because we need that like white noise hum. And we have a little remote to turn it because it has, like, not even exaggerating, probably 14 different settings, but you have to cycle through all the settings to turn it on or off. And the remote on it, the batteries are dead. And so every day I'm trying to push the button the exact amount, right number of times to get it to turn off. I just need to get the new batteries and put them in the remote to make my life so much easier. I would love to know, do you have any other examples of tolerations? I know you mentioned a handful of them, your medicine cabinet. I think before you had shared like things like a lumpy pillow, the little things, like you said, that can be fixed usually in a handful of minutes, usually not with a huge expense either. That's the other really nice thing, is like a little bit of money can make such a huge improvements. And I think it really also just comes down to noticing. So when you have those frustrating moments, like, start noticing this week. Are you going to do something and you go, ugh? Whenever you hear that sound come out of your mouth, or whenever you have that moment of frustration, toleration, write it down, put it in a note on your phone, make it a priority, check it off the list, get it out of your life. So do you have any examples you can share of tolerations that you may have tackled in the past?
I do. Yes. I just thought of one too. Every time I walk past my office, I have a window over here. There's this plant over there that's like been in intensive care for 6 months now. And it's just time. It's time to just call it quits. We got to get rid of the dying plant. He's been in multiple rooms. He is not going to do well. So I just need to just like pull the trigger and say it's time for him to go. But yeah, like the kitchen junk drawer is a huge one. And that's one of those that kind of like accumulates over time. And every 6 months or so, we got to go through and clean that one out. Your email inboxes, my gosh, like my personal email inbox. I have a bunch of tax documents in there right now. I'm like, Allison, you just need to organize these into a folder, and you would feel so good just logging into nothing in your inbox every single day. My car has been so dirty. It has not been cleaned in 6 months. Craig took an entire day out of the weekend, last weekend, to just get it completely clean, detailed inside and out. He did such hard work on it that it has been parked in the garage for a week because it's raining here. And he's like, nope, your car's staying in the garage. We're not taking it anywhere. But yeah, just, getting the car cleaned out. What else? Burned out light bulbs, I already mentioned. Oh, my shower scrunchie that I use with like the shower gel on it, it was falling apart. And I had new ones in under the sink that I discovered when I cleaned out my cabinets this week. I'm like, I got one out and put it in the shower. I got the fresh, razor blade. I cleaned out the empty shampoo bottles and things that were still in the shower, leftovers in the fridge. I try to make this one of those things that I do on a weekly basis now so that it has some kind of ritual built into it. Like before I go to the grocery store, while I'm making the list, I go through the refrigerator, clean out all the leftovers, get rid of all the stuff, because I would find myself going out. It was kind of like my shopping for clothing where I would buy another bottle of mayonnaise, not realizing, oh, we have one at home, right? And once I started doing this weekly ritual of cleaning out the refrigerator before I make the shopping list, now I'm able to assess what we actually need and get rid of all the stuff so that when I bring the groceries home, I'm putting them into a nice cleaned out fridge. So it's just the little things, again, like cleaning off my phone. I have to do that every once in a while. And just, it's just such a good feeling to get those little things knocked off your list.
Absolutely. I'm thinking of, I didn't know we were going to talk about tolerations, but I'm thinking of the balloons. My birthday was a month ago and we had these huge, not latex. What's the other one? The shiny balloons, the Mylar balloons, big number 4, big number 0. And they still looked perfect. And I kept just moving them from room to room and on the table and all around the house. What am I going to do with these giant balloons? I felt bad throwing them away because they're still, quote, good. I posted them on my Buy Nothing group for like, hey, is anyone throwing a 4-year-old party or a 40-year-old party? Do you want these balloons? Nobody wanted my balloons. And this weekend, it was finally like, I've had enough. Scissors, snip, snip, air went out in the trash. And I got my dining room table back and it was amazing. So love tackling those tolerations. Again, that was like 3 minutes where problem solved, space, peace restored. I also love what you shared about doing your fridge clean out, talking about the mayonnaise and going to the store and buying more mayonnaise when you come home and you realize you already have mayonnaise. And doesn't that sound exactly like what we talk about with our closet clean out situations? How many times you shared your story before about your 12, 15 striped shirts that were in your closet and you just kept buying them because you liked them. Maybe you like mayonnaise too, but you don't need more mayonnaise if you have 3 jars of mayonnaise sitting in the pantry at home. Same thing applies to your closet.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So much so. I love how meal planning and grocery prep and all of that has such a huge overlap with our closets and our cleanouts that we do there. And yes, it is so important to take that inventory, to have that list that you're shopping with. So you're not going to the store, quote, hungry, right? You know exactly what you're going to need on that list. So if, I know a closet cleanout can be a toleration. Honestly, I mean, it's not a 5 to 10 minute thing, but it is something you can spend 5 to 10 minutes a day working on if you so desire to do that. And again, you're going to feel so much better. It is so worth it. So if a spring closet cleanout is on your list, then this is the perfect time of the year to start tackling that, because a lot of us are doing shopping at this time of the year. We are adding those new things into our wardrobes, and it's so important to kind of know what you need and also to get rid of all of that old stuff and clear it out of there. Such an amazing feeling for sure.
Absolutely. And I know you have shared your closet cleanout method, your cash, stash, and trash in prior episodes. We also have those list of 7 questions to ask yourself when you're trying to decide if you want to keep a piece or not. I personally love those questions. They've been a game changer for me. If listeners need help with their closet cleanouts and they want some guidance on how to sort through those clothes, what those questions are, they can absolutely find, we've got a free download for you. You can find that at AllisonLabatis.com/podcast, and we will make sure to link that up for you. All right, Allison, are we ready to dive into your chat with Dina?
Yes, let's get to it. And now here's Dina's style story. Well, hello, Dina, and welcome to the show. I am so excited to get to chat with you today a little bit more about some of your style goals and your struggles. So would you take just a minute and introduce yourself to our audience?
Well, thank you, Allison. I'm so happy to be here. It's exciting to be on the show. I'm really happy to be here today. My name is Dina Vasquez. I'm 53 years old. I'm a mom of 2 boys who are in college. I'm a wife, and I'm a speech language pathologist.
So you're an empty nester now, is that correct?
I am an empty nester. It's been definitely an adjustment, but yes.
How long have you been empty nesting?
Oh gosh. So my youngest is a freshman. So about 4 months, 5 months.
So you're still relatively new to the journey.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this. It was an adjustment, but it wasn't horrible. We kind of went through 3 stages. That stage 1 was like, oh, I'm so sad. And this is just like terrible. And then the second stage was like, yeah, they did it. They both are out and where they're supposed to be. And now it's like, woohoo, we have all this time to do what we want.
I can totally relate. I've been through those 3 stages too. It's like at first you can't imagine what life is going to be like on the other side of it. And then you start to kind of settle in and then they come home for breaks and you're like, well, this is nice, but it's also nice the other way too. So I am right there with you. There's beauty in it for sure.
Yes.
Well, I'm excited to chat with you today a little bit about your style goals because you are our first petite guest that we've had. So you have some unique, struggles and challenges when it comes to dressing your petite frame, which I really am looking forward to diving into a little bit more. But first off, let's just kind of start out with your goal and your vision for your wardrobe. And if you had like that magic wand that you could just walk into your closet and it would instantly get you dressed in the morning, wouldn't we all love to have that?
Yes.
What would that look like for you?
My biggest struggle is that, when I go out and buy clothes and I'm looking at the different styles that are trendy and what looks good for the season, I'm like, I want to just buy off the rack. And a lot of times I'll try something on or it'll come in the mail and I try it and the sleeves are too long. The length is too long. The waist is at the wrong place. The knees are at the wrong place. And so, I've learned to kind of adjust through some of it because yes, I have a good tailor that I can go and lean on if I need it. But it is just such a hassle sometimes because if I want something for this weekend, I can't exactly get something just at the last minute. A lot of times it's like, okay, I have to think this through for, 2-3 weeks ahead because of my height. I'm 5'1", and so on the short side. And then in addition to that, I'm not like an itty bitty petite girl. I'm a little bit, 50-year-old mom petite girl.
So your biggest challenge then is finding the things that are going to not overwhelm your body and you can just kind of wear them out of the store, out of the box, and really just have those last minute, clothing options available to you.
Yes. If that was possible. That's the magic one.
Yeah. That's the magic wand. So what would you say is currently working in your closet and with your clothes and style?
So I did think about this a little bit because I was like, yeah, I've been with outfit formulas since 2021. So I've learned a lot of things. And what is working is that I've learned what's on trend. I've learned what is like the, good things to wear for the season. So that's great. And then I'm like, okay, well, I've learned to be creative, not just by looking at the photo, but I can, now use what's in my closet and I can mix and match from what I've got and make different outfits. So that's great. And that's working. Then in addition, another layer to that is that I did get my colors done. So I'm like, okay, great. I've got the right colors. I've got the right outfits. I can mix and match. But if it doesn't fit right, or if it's too heavy or too big, then it doesn't work.
It's just not working together cohesively. Yeah, that totally makes sense. You did send over some pictures beforehand, which were great, by the way. I do feel that you are getting so many elements right with your style, and we can talk a little bit more about that later. But I do see that you know what proportions work well for your frame, and just maybe getting into the habit of replicating some of those looks might be one of the solutions that we can talk through later. But I do see you getting a lot of things right, which is amazing. And I see that evolution is happening for you. It's just a matter of, these little finishing touches and polishing up the things that are still a little bit outstanding with that. So in reviewing your notes for the show today, you listed 2 main challenges. Number 1 is you love to shop. So you're always buying items online in person, but once you get them, you don't always know how to style them in a way that is right for you. So you end up with a lot of items in your closet that don't end up getting used. And then number two is what we've already addressed. Because you're petite, lots of styles seem to overwhelm your frame and you need to learn how to dress for your frame. So tell me a little bit more about the shopping and the items in your closet that don't get used.
Yeah. So I have lots of websites that send me information about new items. And I'm like, oh, that looks fabulous. That's great. It looks so wonderful. I think that'll work for me. And then I get it. And it's like, oh, this was made for a 6-foot, beautiful, thin model, not for me. And so I have all these high expectations that it's going to look like it does in the ad. And then, it doesn't. So yeah, I do try a lot of things and then I end up taking, 80% back or, sometimes even more. I've learned now that if it's not a heck yes, I'm like, okay, send it back.
Great philosophy. If it's not a heck yes, it's a no. And I can imagine
It's a no.
Yes, it's a no. And you had also mentioned that overbuying has been an issue because it can get expensive and seems wasteful to you. So you would love to be able to spend your money on classic pieces that can be used over several seasons. So could you expand a little bit more on that challenge? Have you been able to find your closet staples? Do you feel like you have those core basics in place?
Yeah, I think so. And I think especially this season when you put out the new spring, items, I was like, wow, I really do have lots of these pieces. I don't have to go shop unless, it's something that I just wanted to update. But yeah, this season I felt like I really did have most of the pieces that would work for the spring, with the exception of a few shoes.
That's a good place to be, isn't it? So do you still feel like this overbuying is happening, or was this more something that was happening in the past?
I think it is more in the past. I mean, I am a little bit of a fashion addict. So yeah, I still buy.
So you also summarize that your main issue is that the clothes that you have don't fit or feel good or work for your lifestyle. So is this really just due to your petite sizing, or is there something more going on with that?
So one of the things I think that has kind of come up is that I used to work, pretty much full time or part time for some of that time. And now I'm working a whole lot less. I contract services, when a district needs me, I do some work. But other than that, I'm also like at home. I go to the gym. I go to the grocery store. So that's super casual. So I don't need all the work stuff that I used to, but I still need it sometimes. And then also we do go to some nice events occasionally. So I still need nice dressy outfits for different fundraisers or things that we might need. So I do need kind of all the layers of clothing. So I just want to make sure that I have all those pieces in my closet so that if I do have to get it, it's available to me.
So did you recently have a shift in lifestyle as far as like working in an office more consistently, and now you're not?
Yes. So over the pandemic, that was when I decided, hey, I think I'm going to take a little step back. I think I'm going to stop working, as much as I have been working. So now I'm basically just called for 3-month stints for to cover a maternity leave, for speech therapy. And that, I might work for 3 months and then I might have 3 months off, or I might have 6 months off, depending on what jobs I decide to take.
So you're needing clothing that's kind of covering the gamut from everything from working out to, business casual to just casual work from home or at home days, all the way up to special events, right?
I need everything.
You need it all. I feel like most of us do. We have kind of like that mixture of those pieces. Maybe you're heavier in the area of the more casual wardrobe with just a few of the workwear items thrown in, and then some of the dressier occasion stuff too, that really just creates that cohesive wardrobe that's going to work across all elements of your life, because really that's what we want. We don't want to have to constantly out shopping for those special events, but knowing that we do have those pieces that are going to work in our closets for us. So is there anything else that you are struggling with in your wardrobe or style? And also, how long have these challenges been going on for you?
So I think that kind of covers what my needs are. The struggles have happened over the last couple years, but mainly because if something kind of unique comes up, I have to prepare for that, because if I need to get it sent to a tailor or something, I need to have those pieces kind of at my, availability, so that I don't have to go find the item and then send it to the tailor, have 2 weeks or 3 weeks lead. And that, that has become the issue.
So let's switch gears a little bit to your closet. And you said that your last closet clean out, that you clean it at least 2 times per year. Yay, that's amazing. So this is how you know that you're overbuying and wasting money on pieces that rarely get used, because you typically remove about 3 bags of items that don't work. So tell me a little bit more about your closet clean out process.
So I definitely I go through each section of my closet, because I do have a big closet, and I trade out seasons. So if during summer, spring, I'll have that stuff down. And during the fall, winter, I move those things up. And so I'm able to kind of distinguish things that way. But when I do the clean out, I look to see what have I used? What have I not used in the last year? So I take out what hasn't been used. What did I use that didn't look good? And now that I'm taking selfies and pictures, now I really have a better understanding of oh, I thought that outfit looked so cute on me, but no, it really didn't. So the pictures have helped. And then those are the items that I'm okay, well, I probably will donate this, striped shirt that made me look extra wide, or, the pants were, at the wrong waist, or things like that. So I base it just on whether it got used or whether I really liked the way it looked.
I love that you mentioned the selfie, because one of the things we say at Alpha Formulas community is the selfie never lies. So if you're in doubt about an outfit, go ahead and take that selfie and see what it looks like. Sometimes we don't have that objective opinion when we're looking in the mirror, but when we're looking at the photo, it seems to give us a different picture, right? Or you can always send that selfie to a friend or somebody that you trust is going to give you honest feedback on it. But I love that you've discovered that as sort of your litmus test for what works for you and what doesn't. And you sent over a lot of selfies before we had our conversations today. And like I mentioned, I saw so many things in those selfies that you are doing right, and getting your proportions really worked out for your body shape. And I love also that you do have a lot of closet staples represented throughout those. And I think that that is just super important, because those are the things that now we can start building upon and getting the right pieces in place that work across all of the activities that you have going on in your life. So I'd like to talk a little bit about your style story now. And for our listeners who are not yet familiar with this portion of the show, we like to go a little bit deeper into everyone's style story so that we can learn about their influences and their experiences and the options that they've had, from childhood to adulthood whenever it comes to style. This also includes any messages that we may have heard about our appearance and the impact that those have had on us throughout our lifetimes. So our stories can be shaped by our own choices, but they can also be shaped by the external influences that may have been imposed upon us. And I would love to know if you had a chance to review some of the old photos of yourself before the show today. This is always a fun exercise. Were you able to do that?
I did. I did look at that a little bit, and it was interesting because I never thought about my style story. I mean, that's just not something that we ever think that is important. But yeah, it took me down like a nostalgic little way and thought about different things that had happened in my life. And I started thinking about my story.
What memories did that bring up for you?
So one of the first things that I think it brought up was my grandmother died when I was in second grade. And one of the first memories I have of that is that my mom said, hey, we have to go to your grandma's and we have to kind of clean up her house. And so I went with her and we went straight to her room, and mom opened up this big chest that was in my grandma's room. And as a 8-year-old, I was just amazed at all this wonderful jewelry that she had. And now understand, it was cheap jewelry. It was big chunky beads, and it was a big acrylic earrings of the 1970s, right? But as an 8-year-old, I thought, wow, this is the most beautiful stuff I've ever seen. And I want to be just like her when I grow up. And so mom told me, she says, you can pick anything out of here that you want. Well, as an 8-year-old, I thought, this is like the best gift ever. So I started pulling, just necklaces and bracelets. And I mean, it really was costume jewelry, but I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And I think that that's kind of shaped my fashion choices because yes, I am a little bit addicted to jewelry. And it was not about how much it cost or whether it was expensive, or it was just that it made me see her as someone, a role model for fashion. And when I look and think back about her, she always had these like very simple like shift dresses, but she had this beautiful chunky jewelry that she wore, and it just made everything look so much more special. And so I think I've taken that as like, hey, it just takes one or two little things in your outfit to make your outfit look beautiful.
What an amazing style lesson she shared with you. That is so awesome. Do you remember wearing those pieces when you were little?
Well, yeah, but it was more like, like to just dress up because they were big and chunky and I was a young girl. So I did wear them, but more for like dress up. But I do have one thing that I still have. It's this little brooch of a fish. And she loved brooches and she had different brooches, but I picked this one and I don't know like why this one was the one that attracted to, me to it, but maybe because it had the little rhinestones. And so I still have this piece that, I'll never give away or donate or anything because it just reminds me of her.
Do you find ways to wear it now?
I do. Sometimes. I mean, I'll like stick it on a little like collar or something, but more than anything, I keep it for the memory.
Yeah. So you mentioned your grandmother was one of your style mentors. Is there anyone else growing up that you looked up to?
So this is an unexpected because I think most of us pick women as our style, like role models, but my father is an amazing dresser. I don't think I remember him without thinking about him wearing a collared shirt with his like plaid blazer everywhere, whether it's a casual event or whether it's a, nice dress up event, he always dresses up. And so I laugh because like one of my favorite like sayings over my whole life is like, you can never be overdressed or overeducated by Oscar Wilde. And I'm like, that has kind of been like my mantra, like, hey, you can always, dress up and look pretty, and you can never be overeducated. So that I think has kind of made me think about my father. And my dad is still alive, so he still dresses up.
That's amazing. Yes, our mentors can come in many shapes and forms. I love that he's somebody that you looked up to in that space. Did you get to experiment with style when you were a teenager? Was shopping regularly part of your life, or what did style look like for you when you were around 14, 15 years old?
So what I remember is that, my mom gave me lots of freedom. And I think that's kind of what made me like style so much, is because when we were getting ready for like the school year, she would give each of us $500. And it was like, okay, here's your money and you need to do with it what you need to do for the year. And remember, this had to last the whole school year. So if you bought 10 t-shirts and nothing else, then winter was going to come and you didn't have anything to wear. So mom let us kind of pick what we wanted. And I always felt like this is not fair because my brothers could use that money and it could go so much further than a girl. I had another sister too. So it was 2 girls, 2 boys. And I said, Mom, I think the girls need more money. And she's like, no, I think you need to figure out how to budget so that you can get what you want. And she always said, go to the sales racks and you can find things that are cheaper. And I said, but Mom, if I do that, then they're not in style anymore. So I've always been a little bit of a snob about trends. And I mean, truly, I don't shop like that anymore. I've learned that there are lots of great things on the sales racks and I do shop there now. But as a kind of a spoiled 12-year-old, 13-year-old, I thought, oh no, I can only shop from what's, in the magazines and like what I see, like the teen celebrities wearing. So that's kind of how my shopping kind of evolved. But yeah, it was really fun. We got to pick what we wanted. And some of my favorite stores were like the limited express.
Same here.
But also, we had a Dillard's. So Dillard's always had like the basics and you could always get everything there. But I also remember, you might remember this, there was a store called Units. Do you remember that store?
I don't remember that one.
That was the funniest concept ever, but it was like modular clothing that you could buy a t-shirt and a skirt. And then they sold these like little pieces of material that you could put as a belt, or you could wear it as a scarf, or you could wear it on your shirt and make a bow out of it. And I'm like, okay, at that time, I thought that was the best thing ever.
I do remember this. I remember this concept because they actually carried it inside a bigger department store too. So they had that collection. I don't think we had like a standalone store in our mall growing up, but I grew up in a very small town. So, but I remember it was kind of like a capsule wardrobe concept. But yes, they had like these strange pieces of fabric that you could add into the outfits, and it was all monochromatic. Yeah. This is jogging a memory for me. Wow. I think my best friend had those. That was crazy. But I love that your mom gave you the budget and allowed you to have agency over that, because I'm sure even at a young age that helped you to make those decisions and decide, what is the best use of this money. I'm curious if you didn't cover what you needed to cover for that school year, what was her response? Do you recall that ever happening?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She was like, you bought the things you wanted. There's no more money. My parents were like in education as well. And so she was very responsible with her money. And so she did budget for us to have this. But, if it didn't work, there was no extra money at the end. And so we just had to figure it out.
So you knew that there was no going back once you made those decisions. Do you think that impacts the way that your purchasing decisions today in any way?
Absolutely. Like I said, now I do shop the sales racks. I am careful as to where I spend my money. And more than anything, I think it helps me like realize that, if I get a jacket that can be used, 10 times versus once, then that's definitely going to be an item that I can use. And it makes more sense.
For sure. Yes. When you were a teenager, did you also struggle with the petite style issues, or was this not as much of an issue back then?
I don't think it was as much of an issue because, when you're a teenager and you don't weigh very much, any extra small will look great on you. But that's not the case anymore. So now it has become more of an issue. The proportions of the clothing just don't fit me like I would like them to.
Do you have some favorite stores that you can walk in there and 9 times out of 10, their pieces are going to fit you?
Yeah, places that have petite sizes. So like the Loft, or, if I can find something in Nordstrom that is a petite, certain jeans that brands like Not Your Daughter's Jeans or the, Cut jeans, those have petite sizes. And so those have kind of become my, go-to pieces for denim, or, just things that or short sleeve tops, where I don't have to worry about whether the sleeve is too long.
That totally makes sense. All right, we're going to move into some of the takeaways now. And I want to first thank you for your vulnerability and sharing your stories and, some of the struggles that you have had, more so, with getting dressed today. And I feel like there's a few key things that if you have these in place, that it's going to make everything else easier for you. And we've already kind of touched on this, but the first thing is closet staples, and really just getting the right staples in your closet, and also being kind of proactive about that, because if you feel like you're scrambling before events to pull things together, then that probably means that you don't have all of the staples that you need in your closet right now. And the best way to figure out what you need is to go through your closet and do that clean out again, and just really take your time, making sure that you're getting everything out of there that you're not currently wearing, and also creating a list of the pieces that you're going to need to fill in the gaps, so that when you do go out shopping, you're able to shop with a purpose and have some intention around it, and know that, hey, maybe I need a new pair of black jeans that fit me properly, or I need a special event dress that I can wear to more than one event that I'm going to be able to wear multiple times. And really just working from this list is going to help you not feel like you're always in that mode of, I've got to hurry up and find something, or I've got to get something now and get it tailored. But just knowing that you have that peace of mind from those pieces being in your closet, so that, this is something that you're not going to have that decision fatigue walking in there because of all of these choices that may or may not be working for you, but really just knowing what you have and what you need. So I would say step one, we almost always start here, is just really getting back into the closet, cleaning everything out. And that's going to allow you to make that list of the pieces that you need. Do you feel like you have a pretty good closet clean out process that works well for you?
So I've heard you mention, how you have a process for cleanup. And I think I need to review that again, because I think that would probably be a good place to start, because I don't think I have a good process. I think I just kind of, haphazardly look at the stuff and decide whether it stays or whether it goes.
We do have that closet clean out guide, and it is available to everyone listening to the podcast right now. And you can get that in the notes at AllisonLeBettis.com/podcast. But this walks you through the process of taking everything out of your closet. And it is a lot of work, but it is totally worth it. And then categorizing the pieces into 3 different piles. We have our cash pile, which is anything that can be sold or donated. We have our stash pile, which are the things that you're not quite ready to get rid of, but we're going to go ahead and box those up and get them out of the closet for now, out of sight, out of mind. And then we have our trash pile, which isn't technically actually trash. It's just, it rhymes. And it's the word we use for those pieces that are maybe stained or just not, you could probably recycle these items. And once you have everything sorted into those 3 piles, then what is left over are the items that you're actually wearing. So these are the pieces that you're going to be able to put back into your closet. Those are going to be, your staples that you're going to want to add on to. And when you do this, it's going to help you realize, oh, hey, I do need some more, basic t-shirts, or I need a new pair of dress pants, or whatever the case may be. But it will make it a little bit more obvious what those staples are that you're missing, so that you can start to build from there. And it's just much easier to identify those gaps in our closets whenever we're not walking in there with them overstuffed with so many things that are just going to overwhelm us. And you had mentioned too, not really knowing which pieces to get rid of. So if you're stuck deciding where an item belongs, there are a few questions that I like to run through. One of them is, have I worn it in the past year? Which you did mention earlier, that you do ask yourself that question. Another one is this a classic piece that is going to stay in style? Is it still in good condition? A lot of times we need to upgrade our basics because they get worn out, those things that we're wearing over and over again. So ask yourself if this is something that you need to replace because it's just not in good condition anymore. Can I pair it up in more than one way? I love this question because this really helps you decide if a piece that you're adding into your closet is something that is going to be able to be used to create outfits from, and that you can pair up in at least 4 to 5 different ways is what I usually recommend. And if you're not sure about that, a great way to pair up items is to go to Pinterest and just type in the item with the word outfits and see what comes up for you. And that's also a great exercise if you're struggling with getting dressed every day, is just find a piece that you love in your closet and look up some new and different ways to wear it. Do I feel good when I wear this? I love this question, because it really comes down to, how does this item make you feel? Does it fit? Which is a super important question for you, because I feel like you shared with me that you maybe are purchasing items that just aren't fitting you exactly the way you want them to, but you're kind of holding on to them anyway. You're getting better about this. You did share that you said, if it's not a heck yes, they are going back. But I feel like that's something that even I still struggle with to this day, where I'll have pieces that probably weren't entirely heck yes items. So if I'm being honest with myself, that I tried to convince myself they were, but I have to get rid of those too. And then lastly, would I buy this item again? And if you answer no to any of those questions, then it just becomes a no-brainer at that point. It is not a keeper. It's okay. You can go ahead and let that go. So step one definitely would be to start in your closet, get that cleaned out, and then get your core basics in place, which leads me to takeaway number 2. And that is building that solid foundation of your closet staples and those classic timeless pieces. You did mention that you do love trends, and that makes it easier to add in the trends, right? When you have the base pieces that you can put on, the tops and bottoms and the jackets, then it's so much easier to add in those seasonal trends, and it's that much more cost effective too. So one of the things that you mentioned was, I would love to be able to spend my money on classic pieces that can be used over several seasons. So once you get rid of that noise in your closet, then you know what to pay attention to when it's time to shop. and it's time to build that wardrobe foundation. If you don't have the right basics, it's going to be challenging to create outfits because these are really the pieces. It's kind of like baking a cake. You have to have the right ingredients in your pantry, right? You've got to have the flour and the sugar and the eggs in your fridge and all the pieces that are all of the ingredients that you need to bake that cake. And really, we look at outfits in that same way where we have our pantry staples, which are basically our closet staples. And then we have our fresh ingredients that we add to the outfit, which are our seasonal trends. So really just having those foundational pieces in there makes all of this work together so much easier. So some of the closet staples I recommend, honestly, this is going to vary drastically based on your lifestyle. And because you have such a wide gamut of activities and things in your life, it's going to be a matter of deciding what pieces work for each of those and then how much of your wardrobe you want to dedicate to that. Maybe it's 75% of your wardrobe is, casual items that you can wear to be at home or out running errands. And then 25% of that is going to be, dressier items, or this math does not add up. And 5% is going to be those really special occasion pieces that you have in your closet. You mentioned that you attend a lot of events and things like that. So thinking through how much of my wardrobe do I need to dedicate into each of these buckets, and then adding those closet staples in accordingly to create that wardrobe that is going to work for you. I believe, again, that this is all going to be just a very proactive exercise for you because of the unique challenges that you face with being a petite. You mentioned that you do have some stores that will work for you every time. And those are a great place to start. Take your staples list into Loft and try to find as many staples there as possible. Loft is a great store for this too, because I do feel like they have a great balance of the staples with the on-trend items too, without them feeling too overly trendy, if that makes sense. So you're not worried that I'm going to buy this piece this fall and I'm never going to wear it again, right? Chances are you're going to get to wear it the next fall as well. So the next takeaway I have is that style is a skill, and that's a great thing because it's something we can all continue learning over a lifetime. And you mentioned that you'd love to learn how to dress for your petite frame so that you can have pieces that look good and don't overwhelm you. So start paying attention when you put together an outfit that you feel good in. And take a look at those selfies and try to identify what about this outfit do I like? Is it a silhouette? Is it that your waist is more defined? Is this an outfit that elongates your frame? When you start to pay attention to those little subtle signs, then it gives you that intel so that when you are out shopping or you are trying on an item or you are snapping that selfie next time, you can start to connect the dots and see the things that are working well for you. And again, I feel like you're doing a lot of things right. I really do. And those pictures that you sent me, you do understand your proportions well. You are dressing your body well. It's a matter sometimes of just finding the right outfit formulas that work for you and then replicating them with other pieces that are very similar so that it creates a whole new look. But really, you're just kind of copying that same formula over and over again that works for you. You mentioned that you do have a good tailor, which I think is super important too. And this is an unfortunate reality for a lot of us. I know I'm kind of like between petite and normal sizing. So oftentimes I have to get things tailored to fit, but it's something that is relatively inexpensive and can also just kind of get you that custom fit that works well for your body. And also just really consider the proportions in your outfit because structured clothing pieces are going to help define your shape versus those flowier pieces, which you already know. Those things are going to make you feel like you're drowning in them. And if you just do small things like cuffing your sleeves or, pushing them up or rolling your pants or something like that, like there are small things that you can do to kind of help out with that as well. You're going to want to avoid any long pants that kind of pull at the bottom because that's going to make your legs look shorter. And anything that's going to elongate the lower half of your body is definitely going to make you feel and look taller. It's going to create that illusion. So high waist pants, totally on trend right now. And they're going to help to draw the eye up, which is also going to be great for your petite proportions. So I would love to hear your thoughts on these recommendations, these things that you have tried. Tell me how you're feeling about that.
I think it's all great advice. I mean, it sounds like I might need to get some more high waist pants.
Well, this is the perfect time. I feel like it's an anything goes season for jeans. And so many women tell me they struggle with finding that unicorn pair of jeans that fits them perfectly. And I can tell you that there is no better time to shop than right now, because there's every silhouette that has ever been created out there right now. We've got high waist, mid rise, low rise, flare legs, straight legs, skinny jeans. It's all out there. It's all represented. So if you haven't shopped for jeans in a long time, or pants, now is the perfect time to give it another chance.
Sounds good.
Do you have any other questions for me, Dina?
Yes, I have one more. So talking pants, can I wear like wide leg pants?
Absolutely. You absolutely can. And those are going to look so cute on you. You, again, wear the high-waisted flare jeans. They're going to elongate your lower body, and you can balance those on the top half. I noticed you in this really cute little puffy sleeve shirt. So that, that illusion that we're looking for, where you're creating the width on the top half of your body, it's going to match that width as the eye travels downward to the flare on the pants on the lower half of your body. So really just pay attention to balancing out those proportions. That look can work really good for you too, with the cute little cropped jackets that are in style right now, and the little cropped sweaters and things are going to work great with those jeans too.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Well, you got your work cut out for you, but I have complete confidence, because I feel like you're so close. You're really getting there. And these are just kind of those finishing touches that you're going to be able to put in place. And I have to ask you also, in what way do you think that you can represent your grandmother's signature style in your outfits and style?
Well, I guess it goes back to the jewelry. I think that if I just can add something special to maybe a plain shirt, or to something that, can make it a little bit elevated by just adding some kind of a necklace or an earring, I think that would honor her.
I love that. Thank you, Dina. I so appreciate everything that you shared with me today. Thank you for your vulnerability, and thank you for inspiring me. And so many other women in the Outfit from this community. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you.
I would love to hear your thoughts about today's conversation. Did you see yourself in any part of Dina's story? Do you struggle to find the right fit for your frame? Do you have any sentimental heirloom pieces you've incorporated into your style? Let's open a dialogue and connect. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube as Allison Lombatis, and I'd love to hear from you. If you share thoughts about your own style story on social media, please tag me. I'd love to see it and cheer you on. Remember, you are worthy. Style is a skill anyone can learn, and closet contentment is possible. I believe in you. Thanks for tuning in.